Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. DraftKings Week 16. It's Christmas week. As you can see, I've got the tree up behind me. There's presents right here underneath the first look thumbnail of Joey B. So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you being here all year long. Week 15 was a horrendous slate, but week 16, it can only get better. We've hit rock bottom in DFS. That was it. It can't get worse. So we're going to look at this week. We're a forward-thinking show, and we're going to try and do the best that we can to build a tournament lineup for you here for the Week 16 slate. There's some interesting spots. There's some interesting games. I think that we can pick out a few guys to go with and build the way that we normally do. A double stack off of a quarterback, a bring back play, and a secondary stack within the lineup, because I believe that that is the way that you should be playing. And again, like right up here, there's a link to why. All the math reasons of why that's how you should be optimally building your lineups, because if you're trying to win all of the eggs, it's not a bad idea to put all of your eggs in one basket. So thank you all for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave a reply down below. Let me know which primary stack you are super excited to use in week 16. Let's go.
He's a legend.
Just a quick reminder, jump on over and get into the Smiz Gang Listener League. Smizzle.tv/league will take you there. Join it just like every week. We shout out the winners on the recap video, which is on the second channel, youtube.com/AlSmizzleGames. It's got the recap video every single Monday because I can't put a million videos on one channel. So we've got that other channel for the recap video, breaking everything down. So looking at the quarterbacks on this slate, there's a few that are extremely interesting. One, we have some big blowout games. The Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes favored by 10 over the Steelers. Mahomes getting back on track with a 34-point game last week against the Chargers. What a fantastic game that was. We finally got like an island game that looked great, and Mahomes with multiple touchdowns in his last two, continually contributing a little bit every single week on the ground. He had that kind of 2-week schneid down in here, but he's off of that now. Multiple 30-point games this year, 4 of them, in fact, and now a Pittsburgh defense that I guess is playing better recently, but like not something that should frighten you off of Mahomes stacks. Josh Allen, this could be another tough spot for him. We saw that there was a win game, so like you can excuse it with the 12.7 points he put up against them in Buffalo. Monitor the weather. It is late December in New England. We have, who else? Lamar Jackson should theoretically be coming back from his injury this weekend. If he's not, then Snoop back in play once again. Jalen Hurts comes back and gets to face off against the Lions. They're 10-point favorites. They have a team total of 26 in this game. Goddard, great to stack with him. You can pick another receiver if you want, or a running back in that spot, as the Giants are just bad all around. I think that will be somewhat popular. Russ Wilson, do we trust him to have a really big day? Are they going to let him cook next week? We haven't even seen their week 15 game yet because that got postponed until Tuesday. So don't even know who's going to be there. I don't know what to tell you. Like Metcalf and then maybe somebody else. We'll see. Chicago, that's another game where the Seahawks are at home and favored by 7. I'm going to come down just a little bit. And we're going to come down here to Joe Burrow, who's at 5,900. Leaving us an awful lot of room to get going. Baltimore is a team that you can attack through the air. Now, you see those purple and black uniforms for the Ravens, and you get that vision of all the great defenses that they've had over the years, but they have not been a great defense so far this year, and Burrow did put up 30 points against them in Baltimore earlier this season, throwing for 416 and 3 touchdowns. They're extremely susceptible to the deep ball, a metric that we've hit on numerous times throughout this season in my Best Buys article on ESPN. So going with Burrow double stacks, especially with a team that, plays as deep as they do, they will target down the field early and often. One, because they have one of the best deep threats in the league in Jamar Chase. They will take shots to him deep every single week. He is also capable in short and intermediate routes. Not the best at getting separation, but a monster in the league who's only going to get better as time goes on. 7,100 for him. And the guy that I've been on pretty much all season long during the preseason at his draft slot, during the season, even though he was not super paying off. His salary was too cheap. He's come up to 6,200, but that's down from where it was the last 2 weeks. So I'm thinking that this is a great bounce back spot for T. Higgins, running also on the outside, doing a lot of short and intermediate stuff while Chase gets deep, but also a solid deep threat in his own right. And we're going to bring this back with Mark Andrews, one of the separators at tight end. 24 targets the last 2 weeks. Looking at the amount of games that he's gotten 10 plus targets this year is tremendous. And I've mentioned last week, if you watch the Anti-Tinkercast, the 45 minutes that I'm live on Twitch right before lineups lock, I spent a long time this week trying to really accentuate to you how tough the tight end position is for fantasy. We usually look to punt this position. We're happy taking whatever we can get, but if there's a logical place to pay up, one, to get a little bit different, and two, because there aren't that many tight ends that can get you 25 plus points in a week. I loaded up on Andrews. I loaded up on Kittle last week. Kittle only got you 15, but Mark Andrews scored us 38.6 points and was kind of a break the slate player. Much easier to break the slate at tight end than it is at wide receiver or running back, because the fifth highest scoring wide receiver or running back, if the main guy gets 35 to 40 points, the fifth best guy is going to have like 28, 25, somewhere in there. You're not going to run away from the field. But if you have a tight end that scores 25 to 30, the fifth best tight end usually has like 8, 9. It's not a position that's very deep in volume. So getting that differentiation there is going to help us a ton. Now we have 4,760 to go for the rest of this team. I'm just going to plug in a cheap defense somewhere down in here, about 2,500. Seems to be about the range that we most often hit up to get to. Let's focus on running backs real quick. If you wanted to pay up this week, I'm not going to be able to do it in this lineup based on where I built my primary stack and bring back. Austin Ekeler put on the COVID restricted list, so we don't know if he's going to be there. Sharon, thank you very much for the $20 donated to No Kid Hungry. That, I don't know exactly where that puts us, but we're like around $3,000 away from hitting that $75,000 mark on the year. So if you go to smizzle.tv/charity, that would be exactly how you can donate to this fundraiser that we've been doing all season long. Once we get to 75,000, I will be donating another 25,000, putting us at 100K on the year. So be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. Every single dollar helps. Smizzle.tv/charity will take you there. Austin Ekeler, currently on COVID restriction. He may be able to get back by the weekend, and he may not. We don't know, because it's not clear if he tested positive, but it could be a situation where he's close. We just don't know. So if he's back, then this next play is not going to be in play. So if Ekeler is there, then don't play Justin Jackson. But if Ekeler is out, then Justin Jackson is mega chalk at 4,200 against Houston. He won't see 90% of the snaps. They'll give some of the inside stuff to Kelly, but he would be the primary guy in this offense. A very solid spot. One, they move the ball very well. Two, he's got capability in the passing game. We've seen what he's done in games without Ekeler there. 4,200 is an absolute steal for Jackson and opens up a ton of room. Other running backs in this slate, Harris coming off of a bad game. If you wanted to pay for Cook against the Rams, you would be doing that to be contrarian. That's fine. Lenny Fournette is out, most likely with an injury, which opens up a lot of chalk here also at 5,100 for Ronald Jones Jr., who slides into one of the best running back spots for fantasy right now. And there's a lot of Buccaneers that are injured this week, which, like, if we just go over to Tampa Bay and take a look at their roster, these salaries come out before the end of the game. And so these salaries came out before Fournette left the game with injury. He could miss time. Hurt a hamstring. Assuming that they're going to take their time as long as they believe that they can get qualified for the playoffs, which they should be. Godwin also went down, going to miss the rest of the season, the rest of the regular season, should be back for the playoffs. But, daily fantasy, I only care about who's active this week. Mike Evans may have avoided serious injury. If he misses this week, that opens up Rob Gronkowski, Ronald Jones at 5,100. Gronk would have slid up to over 7K if they had adjusted for these three injuries. That's a lot of targets per game. That's like 65% of the targets, 60 to 65% of the targets on Tampa Bay from Tom Brady, who throws the ball 40 plus times a game, have been vacated. That's going to be filled a little bit by Ronald Jones, a lot by Gronkowski, who probably should see 8 to 10 targets in the absence of everybody else. Brett Perriman is going to be back from the COVID list. He will probably line up on the outside. Antonio Brown, activated from the I faked my COVID vaccination card list. He's going to play and probably run out of the slot and step into a ridiculously high volume role. The role that we've seen Chris Godwin fill the last few weeks, he's kind of a must play for me in this spot. Rojo might be also, but in order to get different with this lineup, I think that there's another running back that we have to target who's also going to be mega chalk, and that's James Robinson. Coming off of a 21 touch game involved in the passing game, inside the 5 usage, squares off against the team that we stream running backs against every single week, the New York MESS mess. Give me James Robinson here. If you wanted to go 3 running backs and have Rojo here and go with a different guy, I'd be fine with that. Do whatever you want in that spot. Totally understand. I kind of believe that if you ran an optimal right now, you'd probably end up with like 3-4 Buccaneers between Gronkowski and Brown and Rojo, and probably one of the other guys. I expect Johnson and Perriman to run the majority of the routes in that spot. This opens up one last player for us at the flex. We have $6,300 to spend. We already have a Charger. Might as well bring it back with Brandin Cooks. Hey guys, Brandin Cooks scored a touchdown. I'm more happy with the fact that he got 21 targets the last 2 weeks. That's kind of back along what we were seeing the first 6 weeks of the season, and that's what we want to see out of Brandin Cooks, because there's nobody else that they can reliably target as much as Brandin Cooks, who is still fast, still a very talented wide receiver, and basically the only weapon that they have that's at all dangerous as they project to play from behind against the Chargers. So I'll plug Brandin Cooks in here, leaving us with $0 remaining. Joe Burrow double stack, bringing it back with Mark Andrews. Jackson, in the case that Ekeler is out, having Cooks in that spot. If Ekeler's in, you're probably going to slide up to Rojo here and pivot to a different wide receiver other than Brown. But Antonio Brown is a perfect one-off in this spot. Our secondary stack is Cooks to Jackson, James Robinson against the Jets, because every running back against the Jets. And that's going to do it for our first look lineup. So thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.